I'm a bit nervous about today's video. Something different. Hello there everyone, my name is Rosemonkey and today as I've already mentioned, I'm going to do something a little bit different. Today is actually my year anniversary of the first video I ever posted on this channel. So I decided to do a celebration video, and I've done those before, but I wanted to do something, again, different. So today what I'm going to do is share with you guys 12 goals that I have set for the next year on YouTube. You know, obviously assuming I'll still be on YouTube in a year. If not, then I suppose this video doesn't matter. Carry on with your lives. The reason why this is a little bit difficult for me is I'm usually very nervous about setting goals, and especially about admitting them to other people, because when you set a goal or a dream or an ambition and you tell somebody else about it and then you don't achieve it, I always feel like there's a kind of disappointment in the air. Even if they don't even say it, it's like, oh, I'm sure you were planning on doing this thing and this thing didn't happen. That's interesting. And I hate that feeling. But I decided to be brave, and here are my 12 goals for the upcoming year. So by get set up, my first goal, that basically just applies to YouTube. When I say setup, I mean I want to change my setup. I mean, my PC is kind of okay, it does quite well. I'm okay with my monitor, that's okay as well. But there's a few things I'd really like to do, and like to get. Like, I'd like to get a new camera, I'd like to get a new microphone, I'd kind of like to get a dual monitor setup, because right now I only have the one. But the thing I'd most like to do is to try and get a proper chair and start using my desk. So be a bit more professional. I'd maybe like to get a green screen or some kind of background going on so it gets rid of all the clutter behind me. And so everything's cleaner, more professional, and it's got a better approach, a better appearance for the whole little face in the corner kind of thing. So that is one goal that I have for the next 12 months, is to get a better setup, save up, buy some better equipment, get everything set up as I want it, and hopefully in 12 months time my videos will look different. This is another one to do with the channel. I'm not really a numbers person. I don't sit every 5 minutes going, oh, I have this many subscribers. Just so you guys know, at the time of recording this video I have 57. So I am hoping to I am hoping to triple that, or is that times by 4? Quadruple that. I can't maths. I basically would like to get to 200 subscribers over the next 12 months, not as a, oh, I need 200 people to be following me rather than 50, because you 57 people, love you to bits, very happy with the fact that I already have that many people, and I think that's amazing. I'm not discounting that in any way, but the goal of getting more people to notice my channel is kind of, it's like a drive. It's not, I need to get 200 people, it's, I need to work hard enough for another 150 people to notice my channel and maybe think it's good. So it's more like an ambition to work harder, be more consistent with my uploads, produce better content, which I like the content I produce, don't get me wrong, but everybody has to strive for better. You always have to strive to be better. So I'm going to try and be more consistent, try and produce better videos, try and get through some of the series that I've half started and not finished, and generally just be more present, and hopefully with all that natural progression and growth and improvement I will hit 200 subscribers. That would be really nice. I don't mind if I don't, but that goal is just something to push me to strive harder, if that makes sense. My next goal pertains to the fact that for quite a lot of time, as many of you know, I've had a lot of health issues, I've had a lot of illnesses, I do have anxiety and a little bit of depression in my daily life. I do have trouble sometimes motivating myself and dealing with a lot of things, and to be honest, I'm at the point now where I'm like, I feel quite ready to try and push for a job. I mean, everybody wants to make their own money. I'd like to think everybody wants to support themselves, know that they're getting the most out of their life, and you can't get the most out of life without sort of taking part in things that are bigger than you. There's a lot of things I've already started, a lot of things I've already done, a lot of opportunities that I've already signed up for. So far nothing paid, but I have already started looking. I even applied for a job that I wasn't able to continue with. But I'm hoping that I get into work very soon, and by this time next year, you'll see me comfortably in a new job and working really hard doing that as well as YouTube. Because, like I said, everybody needs to be a part of something bigger, and while YouTube is something bigger that I'm a part of, it's not really interacting with people on a day-to-day basis. It's not interacting with people in the real world. It's not getting me out of my flat, which is one thing that I probably should do a little bit more, is go outside. So hopefully the job will help me to save, help me to be more confident, help me to be more productive, help me to feel like I'm part of something much bigger than myself, and it means I'll hopefully have a little bit spare cash to save up for the things that I mentioned in goal number 1. Getting more set up, getting better equipment and all that kind of, it's all a snowball effect. It all kind of links into one thing. So that is my 3rd goal. Now this one, this one I'm keeping quite ambiguous. Whereas I did say that I wanted to tell everybody all the goals that I have, yes, I would like to tell you guys that I am hoping to lose a little bit of weight. The weight that I currently have behind me is side effects from medication. I have already been working towards losing some of this weight. I have already been successful in losing some of this weight. And for the first time since I ever remember, since all this started a few years back, I actually have a number in mind of where I would like to get to. I've been doing some talking, I've been doing some research, I've been going to meetings with a few people. I've got a very clear understanding in my head of where I need to get to with my body, with my health, and I'm not going to share those numbers with you, purely because that is something I still wish to keep to myself. I've told a few people where my goals are set, so the fact that I've said it out loud is still big progression. But I can't share those numbers with you guys purely because that's a little bit too much information for me, a little bit too in detail. But I am working on it, and hopefully you guys will be able to see the end results in the next year when I've worked towards it. That's the idea. And now, of course, we're going completely off in a different direction with this one. Long before I was YouTubing, long before I was doing pretty much anything else, I was a writer. I used to write stories when I was a child. I used to enjoy making up characters. I used to enjoy doing lots of different creative things like that. And for the last couple of years, I haven't really done a lot of writing. I've been busy with YouTube for some of it. I've been busy with my health for some of it. There's a lot of things that have really struggled and really suffered because I've been focusing on other things, and I'd like to get back to that. So I'm not sure how many of you will know about this, but there is a thing going in November, every November, called NaNoWriMo, which is National Write a Novel Month. Actually, yeah. So that means that I would be trying to write a novel in a month. I'm not sure if I'm going to achieve that, but I am hoping that that springboards me into at least producing enough that I can work on it and maybe try and get it finished by next August. So that's the plan. I don't know what it's going to be about yet because I have quite a few different ideas. I don't know which idea will feel right to take forward. I mean, it's August now, so November is a couple of months away. I have a few months to figure out which concept I want to take forward. But when I do, hopefully you guys will be able to see the end result. I will be sure to tell you how it goes. Following on from that one, I used to read a lot more books than I do. and that is definitely something I need to do more. I have a lot of books in my flat. I have a Kindle, which has a lot of books on it as well. I really need to read more books. So at some point I'm going to find a way of recording which books I've read, which books I'm already reading. I'll probably put that on my Tumblr and keep referring to it in Twitter so people can go and check out the list. And yeah, hopefully that will be something that I can, again, share with you guys, because I think reading really helps. It helps you to put yourself in someone else's shoes. It helps you to sort of disappear in a different world, and it really helps you to see the world in a better way. I think sometimes it makes you think, it pushes you, and I suppose there's some escapism in it as well. You get lost in someone else's story, you forget about your own for a while. And there are so many times when I've been stuck awake until 6 in the morning reading a book that I picked up at like 10 the following night and I just couldn't put down. This is why I don't read at night. I'm going to try and be very strict with myself not to get stuck in that pattern. But, you know, things happen. We'll see how that goes. And now we're on to the other side of the appearance things. I'd like to change my hair colour at some point. I do like the red. You guys can't really see the red that well on the camera. The lights don't pick it up that well. You can see it better on my Instagram pictures. But I love the red. Don't get me wrong, I love the red. But I would like to be brave and do something different. I don't know exactly what that means yet, but I would like to be brave and do something different. Something a bit bolder, maybe, than I've done up until now. Again, not decided on what that is, but it is something that I would like to look into and something I'd probably like to try and do. So I will let you guys know when I've figured out what that something is, and hopefully, again, you will see the evidence over the coming year. And this is another completely random one. I used to do French in school, and I still know bits, I remember bits, and every so often I'll pick it up and try and learn a bit more French and then forget about it again, and I want to try and be more structured with that. I've recently finished college. I did accounting and ECDL, which is a computer course, and it's kind of reawakened my learning bug. So I would really like to try and relearn the French that I used to know when I was younger and learn more French. I'm definitely not bilingual. I don't find it easy to learn languages other than English. So I'm hoping that with time, patience, and a lot of effort, I'll be able to pick this up. It's going to be hard. This is probably going to be one of the most tricky things on the list for me. But I want to see if I can retain some of the information a little bit better and maybe get at least conversational in French, even if it's very basic conversational. It'd be nice, you know, it'd be nice. Another language thing, although this is completely different, this is a very personal thing for me. I don't know many people, hardly any people, who are specifically hard of hearing and use sign language to communicate. But there's one or two things, like one or two times in my life, occasions where I've come across people and I just wished I could communicate better. I know there was one time when I used to work in a bar, there was a gentleman who used to come in and talk to me, and obviously by talk to me I mean sign to me, and I did my best to interpret him and make relevant gestures to his conversation that meant that we could kind of communicate, but I could never know for certain what he was saying, and I could never know for certain if he understood what I was saying. And ever since then I've always really, really wanted to learn sign language, but I never quite got around to it. There was another time when I was waiting for a bus and I wasn't sure if the bus had gone, and I turned to a boy, I suppose a man, I can't remember that clearly, it was a long time ago, but a gentleman sitting next to me but with his back to me, and I tried to get his attention and ask him if the bus had gone, and he turned and sort of signed to me that he couldn't sort of obviously understand me, couldn't hear me, and I kind of was like, okay, fair enough. But again, I would have liked to have still been able to ask my question in a way that would have been his way of hearing, not my way of speaking, if that makes sense. I would have liked to have been able to ask the question and still communicate with him despite that barrier. And I think it's really important that sort of, like I've already said, I'm not very good with languages, learning new languages outside of my native English. But I'm hoping that with sign language being a gesture thing, and as you guys have noticed, I do talk with my hands a lot, it might be something that I can maybe learn a bit more comfortably and a bit more solidly than French. So that's definitely something that I would like to try and do. And I even have this handy British Sign Language for Dummies, because, in case you guys didn't know, there are different sign languages depending on, I mean, this is actually an American Sign Language as well as a British Sign Language. Very, very recently, I asked somebody who said they speak in sign language which kind of sign language they speak in, and they just said sign language. And we actually had this conversation where I was like, yeah, but there are different kinds. And his native, his first tongue, if you will, was sign language before he learned English, although he was in America. So to me, I was thinking it must have been American Sign Language, and it turned out that it was. But he didn't even know that there were different sign languages for different countries. And I think that even knowing that as well is important, because if I was to go to America and I tried to sign to people in America, they might not even be able to understand what I'm saying because I'm signing in British Sign Language, not in American Sign Language. So even that's a distinction. I also have quite a few of these books for other things. I think I have one for yoga somewhere, which brings me on to my next point. I said next point, I should have said next goal. Next goal. I really enjoy yoga. I know that obviously with the weight loss I'll be doing lots of different kinds of exercise. One of the really big ones I'm going to be doing is swimming. And initially I was trying to have a swimming goal set in this video, but I'm too good at swimming. I'm very slow, but I'm like a marathon runner when it comes to swimming. I'll just keep going and going and going forever. I've not been swimming in a few years, I don't think, but or at least about a year. But in the last 2 weeks, where I've been swimming a couple of times, and I've tried to see what level I'm at when it comes to distance. I actually swam 60 lengths earlier this week. So I was trying to think, well, 120 lengths would take me about 4 hours, and it's not really a good idea to stay in the pool and keep swimming for 4 hours. But, because the 60 lengths took me about 2. So that would probably be a bit hard, a bit long, pushing a bit too much because of the sheer length of time I'd spend in the water. And when it comes to trying to swim faster, I don't know if I would ever be able to actually speed up my swimming, or whether I'd be sort of still the slowest, literally the slowest person in the swimming baths. Everybody overtakes me, it's ridiculous. Because I usually go in a pool which is specifically designed for lengths, and you have to go, there's like 3 lanes, like a slow, a medium, and a fast lane. I'm always in the slow lane, and they're always overtaking me, it's great. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to set any kind of swimming goal, but I had to throw that in the video somewhere because I love swimming so much. But what I will be able to do, hopefully, is go back to my daily yoga. I used to do yoga every day for around 15 minutes. Usually it was at the end of the day, sometimes it was in the beginning, but I really want to start doing that again. So that is definitely something that I would like to try and incorporate into my daily life, and hopefully something that will continue and grow beyond the weight loss, because it's not just about the weight loss. In fact, it's something I want to keep very separate from the weight loss, despite the fact that it is an exercise, because it's about something deeper than that. So yeah, I'd really like to get back to doing that again on a daily basis. That is my 10th goal, I think. I don't know, I've lost count. Okay, so this is a very ambiguous one, and that's because I actually have no idea what this means. But I think it's important to try and challenge yourself to do something that scares you. And I don't mean something like go out in a thunderstorm, because I'm not very good with thunderstorms, and I don't mean like play a horror game. I don't mean that kind of scares me. I mean something ambitious that really pushes me. It could be something thrill-seeky like skydiving, I guess. Or it could be something quite mundane but still very intimidating, like moving house, or I mean, getting a job is quite intimidating, but that's something very separate. But I want to do something that I'm really quite nervous to do, and it really pushes me out of my comfort zone. And like I said, I don't know what that something is yet, but I have a whole year to figure that out and to make sure that that happens. So that is my 11th goal, is something that scares me, something that really pushes me out of my comfort zone, and something that I can look back on and say, do you know what, yeah, I did that. And that's a memory that I'm always going to have, is the fact that I did that. And I want that to be something really important. If I can find something like that. I don't know how skydiving really works. If you kind of just turn up and go, hi, I want to skydive, and they're just like, sure, there you go. If you can do it for charity, I could probably find people to sponsor me to skydive. But I don't know whether I would actually be comfortable doing that, whether I'd feel healthy enough to do that. Could do bungee jumping, I guess that might be a thing. It could always be something that I get people to fund me to do. But yeah, there's definitely, I want to do something really challenging and really big and really scary, but I don't know what that is yet. So when I find out what that is, or when I think of something, I will let you know. Okay, so my final one probably doesn't make a lot of sense just as a concept, be organised. But what I basically mean by that is, well, recently I've done a lot of work around my flat, organising and tidying a lot of things, but there's still a lot of stuff that I need to get rid of, there's a lot of things I need to go through, and I would like to do all of that. But again, it's deeper than that as well. It links into being consistent with my channel, it links into paying all my bills on time, it even links into my nails. I don't have painted nails right now, but for the last couple of weeks I've been painting my nails every time they chipped. I'm giving them a rest right now because I think it's probably been a bit much for them. But even things like that, you know, being organised, making that time for myself, making sure that I make the time to paint my nails when they need doing, making time to... I mean, I even wrote down earlier, like, a cleaning diary of when you're supposed to do things. Like, you're supposed to change your bed once a week, which I'm fairly sure I do, roughly. You're supposed to dust the house, I think, once a week. Or was that once a month? I can't remember. But, you know, things like that. So I'm making sure that my life becomes a bit more organised, a bit more structured, and generally making sure that things all work together. So that's something that I'm hoping it's not really a goal in the sense of there's really an end goalpost thing that I can say, yeah, I've definitely done this. But I think it's a rolling thing that the more I do to make it happen, the more progress I make, the better things will get. And that's another thing as well, meal planning. I've tried meal planning recently and I've completely ignored the meal plan most of the time, but hopefully if I get into doing that a bit more as well, even stuff like that, so I don't have to think, what do I want for dinner? I'll already know what I'm having for dinner because I've already written it down. And I can always go, oh, I don't fancy that, I'd rather have that, and maybe swap 2 days over. But just being that organised, I think, would give me a lot of confidence and make my life a lot more comfortable, and I think it'll be really good for me. So, there are my 12 goals, ambitions and dreams for the coming year on YouTube. And thank you for those of you who are already subbed or who are watching this right now for the previous year on YouTube. It's been interesting, it's been fun, it's been... I don't even have words. I really enjoy posting videos on YouTube, making videos for YouTube, playing games to share with you guys, even making vlogs. I love all of it. I would love to keep doing this as long as I possibly can, and yeah, I do see myself still doing YouTube in 12 months, and I look forward to seeing where my life is at when that comes. I will probably do a video around that time to look at those 12 goals that I've just made and see how I've progressed through those goals, see if I've actually managed to stick to them. So I guess I'll let you guys know how that goes. So thank you for watching. This has been 12 goals for the coming year with Rosemonkey. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, give that like button some love, and I'll be back with more videos very, very soon. Bye! to life of about 5 different games and probably about 6 films. Well, it doesn't actually look a lot like him, but I can only think of him as being... Does he have a... No, he doesn't have a bow tie, so it's not him.